What's good everyone, it's Steve from SnkrTechTalk, back with another video today. For today's video, we will be taking a look at the 2025 Air Max 95 Neon in this new big bubble variation. All right, so before we get into the shoes, I do want to take a look at the box that they do come in. Now, this is an OG inspired box right here. As you can see, it has the Air Max right here on the top of the box and on the side of the box right here. The size tag label does read Nike Air Max 95 OG in black, neon yellow, and cool gray. I did get these in a US size 11. Inside the box, you do have some white tissue paper, as you can see right here, and I will throw a photo up of the script on the side of the box on what it says. So if you guys do want to read that, pause the video and you can check out what's on the side of the box. But overall, it's more or less the exact same box as the 2020 pair. One thing I will note is it does have a glossy finish, whereas the other one from 2020 is a matte finish. But without further ado, let's take a look at the shoes. All right, so the biggest thing about this release right here is the bubble size. They were going for a bigger bubble to be closer to the OGs from 1995. Now, did they achieve that? I will leave that up to you. Actually, you know what? In my opinion, I don't think they quite went as big as they could have as far as the bubble on the side and the back. But that's okay. I am happy with the results from this release and how this shoe looks. Really quickly, I'm not going to do a full review right now comparing the two, but I do have a dead stock brand new 2020 pair right here. And just really quickly looking at the two, as you can see here on the right, I do have the 2025 and then the 2020 right here. The bubble on the back is definitely bigger. It definitely protrudes out a bit more compared to the 2020. And then on the side, at the back of the bubble, it's taller, but the rest of it's more or less exactly the same. We will go through this in more detail, in the full comparison of the two releases right here, but we will shift our focus back to the 2025 new pair right here. Now, as far as the overall details on this shoe, starting at the bottom of the shoe, you do have that waffle inspired tread at the front in the forefoot for the traction pattern right here. You basically just have a classic outsole from the Air Max 95. Now, where this shoe does differ from your standard pairs is it does have the PSI rating right here at the bottom of the shoe. At the front, it does say 20 PSI. In the middle, it says 25 PSI. And then pointing to the back bag right here, it does say 5 PSI. Those are the ratings for the PSI for the bags on how they inflate them and how they are just responsive underfoot. So it does have that detail. They typically do reserve that for the OG colorways, and you are seeing that here on this gorgeous Neon 95 release here. So now, as far as the designer for this shoe, they were designed by Sergio Lozano. I believe his original sketches were from late 93 or 1994. He was going for the kind of human anatomy with the different layers, the rib cage right here on the side of the shoe with kind of the way it's designed on the side, and you can see kind of almost like the striations of the side of the shoe. Was kind of going with the human anatomy kind of look and design here on the Air Max 95. They are also releasing the reverse Neon 95s. I believe 1,500 pairs to the general public, which is really nothing. I would love a pair, but I'm not paying $650 Canadian. But overall, it's a great design. Is it the best design ever for an Air Max shoe? I will leave that up to you. It's in my top 2. I think this is a fantastic shoe and just such an iconic colorway. But you guys sound off in the comments. What do you guys think as far as the design for the Air Max 95 and this iconic neon colorway? Moving your way up from the outsole, you do have this black midsole right here. So what Sergio Lozano was going for was a black midsole to hide the dirt from the Portland weather and just how typically Nike runners did have white midsoles. He went for black. Now, that was met with a ton of resistance from the brand. They did not like what he was doing designing this shoe with a black midsole. They didn't care for it. But here we are all these years later, and I think he did a fantastic job with the black midsole and the neon hits throughout. Now, this was the first Nike running shoe to have forefoot exposed air right here. As you can see, the two windows on the lateral and the medial side, and then obviously the big bubble at the back of the shoe. It's just such a cool hit and just overall color scheme with the black midsole and the neon hits running throughout. Now, moving your way up from that, you do have all of this material kind of stacked on top of each other, and it is with that gradient effect here. So it kind of starts with like black, and then it goes to kind of like a charcoal, and then it goes to a lighter gray here on the lateral and medial side. On top of that, you do have a white mesh material, and through that white mesh material, you can actually see those neon yellow eyelets kind of peeking through that mesh and then coming out the other side where the laces do run through. And I think this is just such a cool design. It's an amazing design and colorway. I think the team back in '95 did an amazing job. You do have a white tongue and then kind of white mesh running down the middle of the tongue. And then right here where the laces do run through is a 3M material. So in the perfect lighting and or with a flash from a camera, it's gonna light up right here, running up the tongue and on the spine of the shoe right here. That's some more 3M material. So the material usage on this shoe is nothing premium. It's more of like a felt material and not a suede or a nubuck, but this is more or less how the shoe did release back in 1995. And then on the top of the tongue, you do have that gorgeous Air Max 95 logo right here. So this shoe is just more or less exactly what it's been for the last 30 years, design-wise, material-wise. It's really nothing special, but I do like the addition of the big bubble at the back of the shoe. Now, as far as the sock liner goes, you are getting a white sock liner, and then inside the shoe, you are getting a ortholite insole that does kind of have that neon yellow or green hits with the black Nike Air at the heel. The laces are a white lace, and it kind of has almost like a really light silver kind of running throughout the laces. So definitely a cool hit. It's more or less exactly the same as the 2020 pair. Now, basically where this shoe differs from pretty much all of the other releases is the bubble size at the back, like we've already talked about, is bigger. And then I do find the toe to be a little bit more bulbous or have more volume on the top. It's not quite as tapered and thin as the 2020 pair. I'll quickly hold it up. You guys can judge for yourself, but it's not quite as slim as lining them up kind of perfectly right at the toe. It's not quite as slim as the 2020 pair. Now, back in 1995, I have seen some pairs like this from 2025, and I have seen some pairs that had a lot of a slimmer toe box. So you be the judge. What do you prefer, the slimmer toe box or the more bulbous kind of higher volume toe box right here? I don't mind either. I think they're both great. They fit more or less the same. I've already tried the 2025s on. So as far as the fit goes, typically most people do go up half a size with Air Max 95s. For me, with Jordans, I'm a size 10.5. In all of my Air Maxes, like over 50 pairs, I'm a size 11. So I always go with the size 11. It's no different with these. I do find the canvas Air Max 95s typically fit a little smaller, where I'll go up to a size 11.5. But my 2020 pair is an 11 and it fits snug. This pair is a size 11 as well. I find they fit exactly the same. So if you typically go up in your Air Max 95s, do the same here. But I don't think it fits any different than my previous Air Max 95s. So as far as the fit goes, I would stick to whatever you typically wear. If you've never purchased an Air Max 95 and you're looking to purchase your first pair with this colorway or a future one, just keep in mind it is a little bit more narrow in the toe box, and most people do go up half a size to kind of combat that narrow toe box in the 95s. But that's more or less going to do it for today's video. Now, do I like this new variation of the Air Max 95? Now, I actually really love what they've done with the design, the bubble, you name it. I don't want to take much credit because it was someone that told me this, but actually about 2.5 years ago now, I was at Nike DNA, the Department of Nike Archives, and I asked the question in the room with all of the individuals that I was in the room with, and I said, hey, you've recently done a recraft of the 2020 Air Max 90s. Are we ever going to see that with the Air Max 95s? The person smiled big, they gave me a bit of a wink, and they said, we're really excited for what you'll see for the 30th anniversary of the Air Max 95. And here we are a couple of years later, finally the release of the Neon 95s with the big bubble. So sound off in the comments what you guys think. Really quickly, I did want to touch on the release for this. 10,000 pairs, I think worldwide was how these released. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. This is a classic shoe that people should just be able to attain by walking into the store on release day, which is what I did with my 2020 pair. I walked in the morning of release. I purchased my 2 pairs from Champ Sports. Later in the day, I saw on SnkrTechTalk a ton of people were complaining that they weren't able to get them in the US. I went back that evening to all of the Champ Sports across the city, and I collected like another 15 pairs for people online on SnkrTechTalk, and I did ship them out. So I think this is a shoe that should be readily available, similar to how the Air Max 90 released in 2020 with the infrareds. If you were online at release time, or if you went in store the morning of, you were able to secure your size. None of this 10K pair business. I don't care how the brand has been releasing shoes, including the black and red Air Jordan 1s. I think it's just ridiculous. There are rumors in 2026 for Air Max Day, they will be releasing these again with the smaller bubble, but I think they should release them exactly the same as they have right here for the general public in mass numbers. Who cares if they sit? Let people scoop up their pair, 2 or 3 pairs if they want with ease, because this is a shoe that should be on people's feet, not in the hands of resellers. But that's going to do it for today's video. As always, if you guys could sound off in the comments what you guys think of this release and if you picked up a pair. But as always, if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, that would definitely help the channel a ton. And check out my Instagram over at SnkrTechTalk, as it is an extension of my YouTube channel with all my pickups, basketball footage, and nostalgia as a whole. As always, stick around for the end of the video, as I will have a portion of me having these on foot. But as always, thanks for watching today's video, and until next time, peace.
I'm in line with the stars, I'm in sync with the earth. 10 toes deep, flower child from the turf. I never switch sides, like even when I